Have you ever wondered whether your desire to look better, to feel attractive, or to be financially secure was somehow at odds with spiritual growth? Have you ever felt guilty for wanting more money, more success, more comfort, while also yearning to walk a path of spiritual purity? Welcome back, friends. I'm truly glad you're here. Today we're diving into a topic that touches the core of our human experience. The relationship between desire and spirituality. Specifically, is it wrong to desire beauty, wealth, and material improvement, and someone who sincerely wants to grow spiritually or so want to look good and live comfortably? This question has haunted seekers for centuries. Many have tried to separate the material and spiritual worlds, believing that one cancels the other. And to walk the path of wisdom, one must give up all worldly pleasure. And to attain enlightenment, one must reject beauty, abandon wealth, and renounce every desire. Is that really true? Or is it possible that desire, when understood and transformed, can become a powerful engine for awakening? Let's begin by acknowledging a simple truth. Desire is part of the human condition. You were born into a body. You live in a world of form, and every day, your senses interact with life. You see, you feel, you taste, you imagine, you dream. This is not a mistake. It's by design. Desire is not the problem. It's what we do with it, how we relate to it, that determines whether it becomes a chain or a doorway. Let's take the desire for beauty. For example, on the surface, it might seem shallow, but if you look deeper, beauty often represents something more profound. The longing to be seen, to be acknowledged, to feel radiant and whole. Many people associate beauty with acceptance, confidence, even life. The problem rises not in the desire itself, but in the belief that beauty is the source of worth. When we chase external appearance to mask internal emptiness, we suffer. When we try to mold ourselves into an ideal out of fear or comparison, we lose connection to our authentic self. But when we seek to care for our bodies, adorn ourselves, and express our unique essence as a form of reverence, that's not ego, that's sacred. True beauty is not vanity, it's alignment. It's the light of your soul shining through your form. You can wear beautiful clothes, care for your skin, express your style, and still be deeply rooted in humility, clarity, and compassion. Let's talk about wealth. So many spiritual people struggle with money, not because they're lazy or incapable, but because they carry unconscious guilt, shame, or judgment about abundance. They've absorbed the belief that money is corrupt, that wanting more is selfish, that success must come at the cost of purity. But here's the truth: money is neutral, it's energy, it's a tool, it's an amplifier. If your heart is loving and wise, money in your hands becomes a force for good. If your heart is wounded or greedy, money simply magnifies that. The same goes for lack. Poverty doesn't automatically make you spiritual. In fact, constant financial stress can consume your energy, limit your service, and distract you from your deeper purpose. The key is not whether you have money, it's whether money has you. Are you ruled by your desires, or do you rule over them with discernment? And you will desire without being held hostage by it. That's the real test. Because the goal of spiritual practice is not to eliminate desire, it's to purify it. You move from craving to clarity, from grasping to generosity, from ego-driven wants to soul-aligned intentions. Let's continue unraveling this knot between desire and the spiritual path by turning to an ancient truth found across mystical traditions. Desire, when rightly understood, is not the enemy of awakening, it is its beginning. Think of every great transformation in your life. It didn't begin with a longing, yearning for something more. That longing may have first taken the form of wanting success, recognition, wife, or even physical beauty. But if you followed it deeply enough, didn't it eventually lead you to something richer, a desire for peace, wholeness, truth? Desire evolves. What begins as a desire for pleasure or approval often matures into a longing for inner freedom. That's the alchemy of the path. So when you feel a desire rising, to improve your appearance, to earn more, to expand your reach, don't be too quick to judge it. Instead, get curious. Ask, what is beneath this? What is my soul really seeking through this? Maybe your desire for wealth is not greed, but a longing for freedom. Maybe your desire to look good is not vanity, but a wish to embody self-life. Maybe your desire to succeed is not ego, but a cry from your deeper self to fully express the gifts within you. When you approach desire with awareness, it becomes a map, a pointer toward what is truly meaningful. When you approach it with judgment, it becomes repression, and repression always leads to distortion. Any spiritual seekers fall into the trap of suppression. They try to kill desire, believing it to be the cause of suffering. But as long as desire is merely buried and not understood, it will eventually resurface, often in unhealthy or unconscious ways. It's not desire that creates suffering. It's attachment. Wanting something is not the problem. Eating it to feel whole, that's where suffering begins. So the invitation here is not to become desireless, but to become desire-free. What's the difference? Being desireless means cutting off a part of your humanity. Being desire-free means you can hold a desire with open hands, appreciating it, but not being controlled by it. This is a subtle, powerful shift. A spiritually mature person may still want beauty, wealth, recognition, but they are not possessed by that want. They use it consciously, they channel it wisely, and they are willing to release it when it no longer serves the highest good. Let's now look at how these teachings come alive in everyday life. Consider someone who wants to be wealthy. If that desire comes from insecurity, from a need to prove worth, it will never be enough. No matter how much they earn, they will feel poor inside. It may even begin to sacrifice their health, relationships, or ethics in pursuit of more. That's craving. But if their desire for wealth comes from a place of clarity, and knowing that abundance will allow them to serve more, create more, and live with greater generosity, then wealth becomes a spiritual ally. In desire, different energy. Or think of someone who wants to be beautiful. If their desire stems from shame, they may obsess over every flaw, compare constantly, and chase unattainable ideals. That's suffering. But if their desire comes from honoring their body as a temple, caring for it, expressing its uniqueness, allowing beauty to emerge from within, then beauty becomes a spiritual practice. You see, the outer expression is never the full story. It's the energy behind the desire that reveals its truth. Let's explore how ancient wisdom traditions navigated this. In many Buddhist teachings, the word tanha is used to describe craving, the kind that leads to suffering. But not all desire is tanha. There's also chanta, a wholesome desire, a motivated intention toward liberation and greatness. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna advises Arjuna not to suppress action, but to act without attachment to the results, to desire rightly, and then surrender the outcome. In Taoism, the sage does not force or deny, but flows with life, following the natural desires of the Tao, untainted by ego grasping. And in mystical Christianity, saints and mystics spoke of a holy longing, a deep ache for union with the divine, often sparked by the very desires that once seemed worldly. The consistent message: desire is not the problem. Misunderstood desire is. So how do we begin to transform our relationship with desire? Begins with honesty. Instead of shaming your wants, examine them. Ask, is this desire coming from fear or life, from lack or fullness, from ego or soul? Bring compassion to the part of you that wants more, and silence it, listen to it, learn from it, let it teach you what you still believe you need in order to be enough. And only then, can you make a new choice. You can choose to release the grasping and move toward wholeness. You can say, yes, I would love more beauty, more wealth, more joy, but I do not need it to be worthy, and do not cling to it for my identity, and choose to enjoy it when it comes, and remain at peace when it goes. That is spiritual power. That is freedom. That is the middle path, not between indulgence and denial, but between ignorance and wisdom. And this path is not abstract. It's lived, moment by moment, choice by choice. It's in how you shop for clothes. It's in how you respond to money stress. It's in how you care for your body, your work, your relationships. You can spiritualize any desire, not by disguising it, but by illuminating it. Not by pushing it away, but by pulling it into awareness and asking, what is this really about? And how can I honor the deeper truth here? Let's take this even further, because while examining desire is vital, there's something even more transformative than understanding it, and that is using it, not in the way we've been conditioned to use desire to chase fleeting pleasure, but in the way sages and awakened beings have always used it as fuel for evolution. You see, desire holds energy, tremendous energy. It stirs your heart. It moves your body. It activates your imagination. If you suppress that energy, it stagnates. If you indulge it without awareness, it consumes you. But if you channel it, if you bring it into consciousness, into devotion, into presence, then desire becomes fire, sacred fire, fire that burns away illusion and lights the path ahead. Think of the spiritual path not as a denial of desire, but as its refinement. Let's go back to the desire for wealth. A conscious being might say, I desire abundance not to inflate my status, but to liberate myself from survival stress, so I can give more, create more, and serve more. That's not ego. That's spiritual strategy. Or take the desire to look beautiful. A conscious being might say, I desire to care for my appearance because it reflects my inner harmony. I honor my body. I honor the divine life within me. That's not vanity. That's reverence. Even sexual desire, so often feared or shamed in spiritual circles, can be transmuted into deep intimacy with life, with self, with God. When held with presence, even the most primal energies become sacred. This is what the mystics know. This is what Tantra teaches. This is what true alchemy means, not killing desire, but elevating it, not escaping form, but sanctifying it. You are not here to transcend life. You are here to awaken within it. So don't reject your desires. Invite them in. Sit with them. Talk to them. Ask them, where are you trying to take me? And then, listen. Because often, your most intense desires are not about what they seem. A desire for wealth might be a cry for freedom. A desire for beauty might be a longing for life. A desire for success might be a deeper wish to feel enough. When you understand this, you begin to move differently in the world. You no longer chase blindly. You no longer shame yourself for wanting. You begin to walk the path of integration, where desire and devotion become one. And that's where the real magic begins. Let's bring this down to daily practice. When a desire rises, don't run from it, don't cling to it either. Simply be with it. Ask, what is this feeling trying to show me? Feel where it lives in your body. Notice what memories or fears it stirs. Afraid your breath, afraid your awareness, afraid your kindness. The desire persists, act on it, but act consciously. Ask yourself, will this action deepen my connection to truth, love, and peace, or will it create more craving? Let your desire serve your soul, not your shadow. And if the desire fades, let it go without regret. Know that you have already received its license. This way of living transforms everything. You no longer fear pleasure, because you are not addicted to it. You no longer fear lack, because you know your worth is not tied to that you have. You no longer feel split between the material and the spiritual, because you understand they are not opposites, but mirrors. Or body becomes a temple. Or money becomes a tool. Or dreams become prayers. Your desires become vehicles of awakening. And in this space, this sacred space of alignment, life flows. You may still desire beauty, and you will express it with grace. You may still desire wealth, and you will use it with generosity. You may still desire success, and you will receive it with humility. Because you are no longer ruled by desire, you are dancing with it. Desire becomes your ally, not your master. Let me tell you a true story, one that beautifully illustrates the power of transformed desire. There was once a woman who had everything: wealth, status, elegance. Deep inside, she felt hollow. Life was built on performance, lacking guide, being admired, controlling every outcome. And a personal crisis shattered our carefully built image. Betrayal, lies, health scare, everything external crumbled. And in that space of rise, something unexpected happened. She felt desire again, but not the old desire for admiration. This was a new desire, desire for truth, or depth, or something real. She began to meditate, to simplify, to serve. Slowly, she rebuilt her life, not as a persona, but as a soul. Today, she still looks beautiful, she still has resources, but there's a softness in her, a presence, a joy that money can never buy. Her beauty now comes from peace. Wealth now flows from purpose. Her power now rises from humility. She didn't kill desire, she let it evolve. And in doing so, she discovered the greatest secret: when you no longer chase desire, it begins to serve you. When you no longer grasp for life, life comes toward you. This is the paradox at the heart of the spiritual path. The less you need something to feel complete, the more life gives it to you, not as a prize, but as a mirror. Because now, you're not chasing shadows, you're living in the light. So now we arrive at the deeper truth, not just about desire, but about the human journey itself. You are not here to reject your desires. You are here to refine them. You are here to meet them with clarity, to live them into maturity, and to walk with them as sacred messengers, not dangerous distractions. The idea that wanting beauty, comfort, or abundance is inherently inspirited is a myth, one that has caused countless sincere seekers to live in inner conflict. It has created guilt where there should be honesty. It has bred suppression where there should be inquiry. And worst of all, it has turned the spiritual path into a narrow corridor of denial, instead of a vast field of embodied freedom. But the real path, the awakened path, includes everything. It embraces the whole of you: your hunger and your holiness, your craving and your compassion, your yearning and your surrender. Real path doesn't tell you to abandon your life. It invites you to live it more fully, more presently, more consciously. So let us stop asking whether desire is wrong. Let us start asking, what does this desire want to show me? What is the soul underneath it whispering? I cannot honor the energy of this longing while staying rooted in wisdom. When you ask these questions, your relationship with desire begins to change. It becomes softer, kinder, and far more powerful. How longer do you need to chase? How longer do you need to shrink? You begin to move from a place of inner wholeness, where desires arise, yes, but they no longer define you. You begin to radiate peace even as you create, achieve, or enjoy. You begin to embody the paradox, full engagement with the world, and total freedom from it. This is the heart of true spirituality, not withdrawal from the world, but liberation within it. Let me offer one last reflection. Imagine a tree, beautiful, strong tree. Its roots reach deep into the earth. Its branches stretch high into the sky. It offers shade, fruit, shelter, it's alive. Well, to gradate. That's you, when you live aligned with your soul. Your roots, your body, your desires, your form, are not something to escape, are what ground you, are what allow you to grow. Your branches, your mind, your spirit, your aspirations are not something to suppress. They're what help you reach the light. You need both. And it is in the balance of the two that you become whole. So, can you want to be beautiful and still be spiritual? Yes. If your beauty is an expression of self-love, not self-rejection. And you want to be wealthy and still be spiritual. Yes. If your wealth serves your values, not your ego. And you enjoy pleasure and still walk the path of awakening. Yes. If you meet pleasure with presence, not addiction. What you're really seeking, through all your desires, is connection with life, with yourself, with the sacred. And once you taste that connection, even your desires begin to change, soften, simplify, align. You stop needing so much, because you start feeling so full. At fullness becomes your wealth. At peace becomes your beauty. At joy becomes your success. So now, let me ask you, what have you been desiring lately? What if, instead of pushing it away, you leaned into it with awareness? And if you allowed it to lead you to a deeper truth, a truer longing beneath the surface? And what if you chose, starting today, to walk the middle path, not the path of denial, not the path of indulgence, but the path of integration? This is your invitation. Not to stop desiring, but to start desiring wisely. Not to kill the ego, but to let it soften in the presence of the soul. Not to fear wealth or beauty, but to honor them as reflections of inner alignment, not replacements for it. You are allowed to want more, as long as you are willing to want deeper. You are allowed to enjoy this life, as long as you remember you are not this life. You are allowed to create beauty, as long as you know the true source of it is within. Let your desires arise. Let them be seen. Let them evolve. And in time, you'll find that what you've always wanted was not the object, but the state of being it promised. And that state, it's available now. Not in the future. Not after the goal. But here. This moment. Your breath. In your presence. In your open, courageous, desiring, awakening heart. Thank you for walking this path with me. I want to hear from you. Have you ever struggled with the belief that your desires made you less spiritual? Or have you reconciled the longing for material joy with your spiritual aspirations? What wisdom has come to you from falling and then transcending your desires? Leave a comment and share your experience. Let your voice be part of this collective awakening. And if this message resonated with you, please support this channel, like this video, subscribe, and share it with someone who may be walking through similar questions. If you'd like to dive deeper into practices of integrating soul and self, beauty and balance, desire and devotion, consider joining our member community for guided meditations, behind-the-scenes talks, and sacred community. Until next time, may your desires be honest. May your path be clear. May your life be full.